Haven't had any beef jerky for a while, so decided to make some up. And I took the easy man's route. Grabbed some carne asada. It was already cut up. This is bottom round. And we turned this into beef jerky. Super easy, and this stuff tastes great. All right, so let's get started and put this together. First ingredient is some bottom round. So this is actually cut for carne asada. I just picked it up at the local grocery store and I thought, you know, I'm gonna give this a try. This is a great meat to be able to use for beef jerky. Can we just use this carne asada meat that's already cut and sliced, which is a big part of what we do, to make some great beef jerky? Well, let's step right into it. First thing that we're gonna do is put our ingredients together. And for those ingredients, we've got a 1/4 cup of soy sauce. Next thing is a 1/4 cup of teriyaki sauce. And next is 1/8 cup of hoisin. This should give it a nice kind of a Asian umami flavor to it. And I like that in beef jerky. Now we've got 1/8 cup of salt. And then we've got black pepper. This is a tablespoon of black pepper. After that, we've got our good old Worcestershire W sauce. We're gonna drop that in. And now we've got, this is a teaspoon of garlic powder, a teaspoon of onion powder, a teaspoon of paprika, and we've got 1 teaspoon of chili pepper. This is ground. So we're gonna take this, mix it all up nicely, and that's gonna make our marinade that we're gonna put in a plastic bag, and we're gonna put the beef in there. There we go. I am gonna add a little bit of water, probably about 1/8 cup. Let's just go for a 1/4 cup of that water. And that's just gonna give us a little bit more volume. And now we're gonna jump in with this bottom round, or the carne asada meat. Pick this up from local grocery store. It's about 2.5 pounds. So take a look at the recipe down below for everything that I put in here for liquid, and figure that that's what we're gonna do for about 2.5 pounds of meat. You probably want to make sure that this isn't real fatty when you pick it up. I'm going to do like nice big slabs of this, so that's good. I'm going to cut just a little bit of this edge off. We don't need all that fat in there. So you see where there's a little bit of a layer of fat down at the bottom? We're just going to slice that off. A little light trim over there just to get that fat off, but these are just nice big slabs. And what you'll notice that this is cut with the grain. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll use a top round, and that kind of is actually round, and that's like a London broil also. And quite often what I'll do is I'll use that, put it in the freezer to be able to just give it a little bit more firmness, and then cut it against the grain. So that way it makes nice little more tender pieces. But this is okay too. We're gonna give this a try. It'll be a little bit tougher on the chew, but I think that's okay. And before we put this in, we're also going to just cut these in half so they're not quite so big. So we'll just trim up the rest of these. There we go. Nice trim on that 2.5 pounds. This is what we've got left over, just some fat in there, so we're gonna get rid of that. Now we're gonna take this meat and toss it into a bag. We're gonna make sure that each one of these pieces is separated, because we wanna do everything that we can to make sure that every bit of this marinade gets in contact with meat. So that's why we're just gonna kind of pull them apart, toss them in here, and then we'll add that marinade. We're gonna put it in the refrigerator. There we go. So those are all loosely in there. I like using a plastic bag. You could just use a big bowl if you wanted to. You could use just a pan with maybe some saran wrap. We just want to get this in here. Scrape all the goodness out of here, because we've got some of those spices that are hanging out at the bottom. So we're going to try to get as much air out of here as possible. Air's our enemy. TTF, tuck, tuck, fold. For those of you who remember the Mr. Mom with Michael Keaton. So we're just kind of massaging this all the way through to make sure that that marinade gets all the way around and gets in contact with all the meat. We're going to put this into the refrigerator, and then we're going to do this very same thing probably about 3 more times before we put this onto the grill. Next up, into the refrigerator. Then we're going to check back in when we pull it out and put it on the racks, put it into the smoker. Just remove these from the bag in the refrigerator, put them on some trays, and we're going to move these out into the smoker. Got it set low. We're probably running sub 200, depending on what your smoker can do. Got these on 3 trays, going to separate them in there, but I left all the pepper and everything on there. Left all the spices on there, so this should be really good. There they are in the smoker. We've been in for about an hour and a half. Taking a feel on this. Still feels like it needs a little bit more time. So we're gonna give it another half hour to 45 minutes. Smoke's still looking good. It's looking pretty fine. So we've been on for about 2 hours in total. These are feeling really good. I can still feel a little bit of moisture in there, which is what we want, but they don't feel wet at all. So I think that this is the time to move these off, let them maybe cool down a little bit, and then we'll just take a scissors or a knife and just cut them into smaller pieces so they're a little bit more bite-sized. And then we're gonna give them a try. Got this cut up into little pieces, so ready to go on and give it a try. You can definitely feel the tug on that because this is cut with the grain as opposed to against the grain. But the flavor on this is really good. Now, we didn't rinse this, so I've got a lot of those spices and everything that are still on here, which is what we wanted. I put this in the smoker at about, I think it was running about 150 degrees. This was cooked up on my Traeger 125. This is early 2000s vintage, but just a great machine. Really enjoy using it. It does a great job, especially for smaller batches when I'm not doing something huge. This stuff just turned out really good. The spice in here is good. The sweetness, I think the moisture content is just right because we didn't go to the point where it was dry. So I really like this better than something that's really hard and dry and crusty. It's a favorite around our house. So one tip, when you put it in bags in the refrigerator, you may want to put a single sheet of paper towel in with it. That helps to absorb any moisture that might be left in it, and you won't get that moisture and condensation on the inside of the bag. So, hey, I hope you like this beef jerky. Hope you give this a try. I hope you like all the videos. I got a ton of videos out there, all the way from restorations, painting your pellet grill, how to replace some of the parts, as well as probably 80 plus different recipes. So if you have not tried bacon wrapped Oreos, look it up. It's in one of my playlists. Yeah, we've just got a ton of stuff in here, so really appreciate if you go through there, find something great to cook in your backyard this weekend. And from BBQ Plus, thanks for watching.